Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where Kahuna and I have got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge 39. That's right, we're back, baby. Kahuna, how you doing?
Mate, I'm doing great. I'm doing really well. I'm probably not doing quite as good as you living it up on the Gold Coast right now. Just the
Oh,
loveliest
mate,
part of Australia.
love it over here. Absolutely love it in the Gold Coast. We've got Chris in the live as well. You'll have to do this on tonight. I'll be in and out. Ah, okay, that's fair, Chris. That's fair. We did change it because I'm in the Gold Coast and loving it in the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast reminds me of Florida. Like honestly, like walking around here, I get real Tampa vibes at certain spaces when I'm walking around, and just the weather, the people. There's a lot of bikinis out and about. I can tell you that much. It's hot. It's warm weather over here, and good vibes, good friendly vibes. I do miss the ocean and really nice beaches because Melbourne doesn't have that. They've got more bays than the beaches that you get up here. So
You
been
found a
having
few
a
of
good
them up
time over
there.
here.
A Surface
Yeah,
Paradise? Are you like actual Surface
I'm
Paradise?
at I'm at Surface Paradise. Yeah,
Yeah,
like pretty
it's
much like
beautiful there.
it's
It's
like a
the
block.
vibes, isn't it? It's just so chill,
Oh
and the whole city is just like it just
yeah,
gives that relaxed kind
holiday
of
vibe.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, holiday vibes, and it's also like it's not like there's people here, but it doesn't feel like everybody's on top of you. Like it's
Mm.
like it feels a little bit more spaced out. I don't know. It's good vibes. But I still have love for the challenge. I still have love for everybody in the live when it comes to talking about the challenge. So I know I had to move it from yesterday to today. And I apologize if that threw some people's schedules off a little bit, but I had to try and fit it in. I didn't have time to watch the episode until last night. But I caught up, and I'm very interested to know what everybody's thinking of this latest episode
Mm.
because we lost two real ones in this episode. Some people may even say three. I know that Ed is a love it or hate it type of guy at the moment when it comes to the fandom. A lot of people not that high on him. But you can kind of understand, Kuna, after this episode. You know how Ed has been going at the fans online? He must feel
Yeah.
like an absolute idiot after making this big move in the previous episode and absolutely failing on him, and then him going out first in this daily. Like, put yourself in his shoes, Kahuna. If the fans were criticizing your gameplay and you felt like that was the only move you had in the game, you would feel a little bit sensitive about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do like it, and it is a shame that, like, when you say losing two real ones and maybe three, I think we've lost five in a row of potentially the top competitors, like in the show. We went
Yeah,
Raven, Zaza, Ed,
yeah.
like, man, like it's
They're
so
all good
brutal.
competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, if I was Ed, like, I feel like he's one of those guys that unfortunately the end result maybe speaks a little bit louder than the work in progress. And I feel like he showed that he's very good at this game. He's smart,
Yeah,
he's athletic. He seemed to be one of the top competitors, but just kind of had that one thing where, like, they were obviously turning on him. He didn't see it. He didn't know they were using him. He's fine for that, like to be the
yeah.
bottom bit. And then on this one, wanting to go for that win, he just gets that little bit too greedy at the end. And these dumb things will outshine what I think is a really good competitor and
I
has
agree
that,
with you.
yeah.
I don't care. I don't. I know the fans would like for us to hate on Ed because he's been clapping back at the fans. I couldn't care less. Like, maybe I should jump on social. Maybe he's done something horrible. I don't know. But I do think Ed is someone that I'd like to see come back in the future and play the game again. I do
Absolutely.
think he's
He
got
won me this
potential.
season.
Yeah, like I think he's got potential, and he hasn't reached it yet. But let's say hello to a few people here. Dolores, welcome in the live, saying hello, you lovely gentlemen. I'm trying to keep hope alive, even though I have a feeling I'm gonna like the end. I'm not gonna like the end result of this game.
Mm.
Not many likable people left, but I hope everybody is Team Nerus after this episode because she is like
Man,
carrying the torch for us at the moment, and we'll
man.
talk about that. Like, if you're not Team Nerus, then what show are you watching right now, Kuna?
Yeah, my goodness. Like, if this show, like, I've been I'm gonna just go on a small tangent here, Chris. I've
Go
been
for it.
holding on to hope, and it seems more and more unlikely the closer it gets, and the more I hear rumors and blah 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 that season 40 would end up being a all champion season. I've been
Mm,
holding on to a small glimmer of hope, not knowing that they were looking for a new champion to add to the ranks. They've just added a few more in USA, in Australia, in by trying to add
yeah.
a few more champions to the pool that they can get from. I was holding out hope, but looking at this season and looking what Nerys has done, looking what Kylan and Horacio coming being that
Oh,
underdog story,
yeah.
they've unearthed some absolute superstars here, and then on
I
the
agree.
opposite turn Jay into some sort of super villain. I
Yeah.
feel going to season 40, they need to capitalize on the momentum. The Olivia Nerys thing here now, is gonna be
They have
huge.
to.
They can't waste these people, and now I'm like, I get it now. There's no way seasons 40 is gonna be all champions. They have got some storylines that have come out of characters which people have been complaining about all season, and look what it's kind of turned into as far as some of these
Finally.
things coming out of it. It's amazing.
It's been a slow burn this season though to get to the point where we are now at, and I feel I'm with you. I'm all in on these storylines that are being created. Like you now, we'll have to get into it, but you've got so many good things. This episode may have been even though it hurt so much seeing these people leave, may
Yeah.
have been the best episode yet
It's the
because, like you said,
bittersweet thing.
oh, it's a
It is
bittersweet thing,
sad,
but you
but I
know.
know it was amazing. It's sad that they're gone, but I'm like, that was
But
TV. You
it's
know what I mean?
setting up future. It's setting up, like
Yeah,
you said, future seasons. Like if they don't, what will make this episode truly sad is if they don't follow through on this and give us that future storylines with what's happened. Because this is why reality TV can be better than scripted TV because you can't script some of the interactions that we had in this specific episode. And I'm excited to talk about it, but I do want to say hello to a few more people here. YouTube Bearcat, hello, welcome to the live. Willie, hey guys, this episode had its highs and lows, and it was a good episode. I agree. YouTube Bearcat says 2 fantastic episodes in a row. Dolores says it was a good episode and it had me screaming as well, crying and screaming. I agree. I felt that's it. I'm invested. And I wasn't
yeah.
invested in these people for a long time, but I'm super invested. It was sad to see the conclusion, but it was yeah, it's like people said, it's crying and screaming at the same time, for what we were seeing. AR saying it's over for me. No more Horacio and Kylan. That was the show. No, AR. No, please hang in with us into the show. As long as Nerys is still in the show, Kylan
But
and Horacio lives on, in my
but see,
opinion.
what that means is they've done an awesome job of getting AR to invest in Horacio and Kylan.
Mm.
The fact that you're so impacted and saddened by them walking off means the show has done its job. If we didn't give a shit about them and we're like, oh yeah, Horacio and Kylan, whatever,
Don't you want to
so
see
many other,
AR?
yeah,
Don't you want to see Jay's downfall because you know it's coming. You just know Jay's not winning the season. If Jay wins the season, oh, that would be insane. Like if he could come back and win the season from here. But I don't think Jay's going to win it. They're burying him in the edit, in my opinion. They're
man.
burying him. They're not giving him a good guy edit at all. They're
He's got a
showing the ugly
fast fall
truth.
from grace. A fast
Oh,
fall from grace. Like the quickest heel turn in history.
let's see what people are saying here. If only Ed, James, and Corey had been eliminated instead of HK for the first 3 falling off the rope. We'll talk about that. Let's see who else is here that are new that are dropping in. Luciana saying, hello, Luciana, an amazing episode, but I'm worried for the rest of the season. Nerys is my only hope right now, and I agree. Definitely my only hope. Deeks, welcome as well, saying, I don't think any of the men have one been in sand. What is it? Do you get what Deeks is saying? I don't
So
think any of the men.
all the men left now after
Yeah.
Kyle and Horacio. No one's actually been in an
Oh,
elimination and won.
right.
Yeah,
Got you, Deeks. Got you.
yeah,
That's true. Fair call there. They've all been sort of, I guess, dodging it. AR
yeah.
saying how many elimination wins between the final men? Way less than one. The ones that are left, what a waste, not deserved, in my opinion. Yeah, it's all the scared guys that are still in the game that are finding a way. But I mean, listen, I don't mark people down for that. Part of the game is not to be in a position where you get in danger. Let's talk a little bit about the beginning of this episode because as much as we like Horacio and Kylan, what was that start? What was that start with Kylan coming in, pretending to be the only one coming back? You've got Olivia in tears, making the moment about her, typical Olivia, I feel so bad. I don't deserve a friend like this and needing to be consoled by her friends. And you've got, Nerys consoling Kylan's in tears. What was that, Kona? It was like Horacio but sometimes they've got weird gameplay. Like, we can admit to that at least, right, Kahuna?
Yeah. Yeah, like I did hear on Angel Cake, Drew interviewed Kylan and Horacio, and basically they said that was the plan, and they thought it would be 30 seconds, a couple minutes. Apparently, it was over an hour, and
What?
that's what. Yeah, so Kylan was just awkwardly sitting there, and Horacio said he got to the point where he's like, "Am I actually out? Are they going to let me back in?" Because they were
Oh, so
because
production kept them back.
Productions heard them having the idea. This is according to the interview with Angel Cake. So we're taking his stuff, which I'm, obviously homage to Angel Cake. 30 minutes. They said, okay, well, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna make it a thing. Like, let's do it properly. And like and they held Horacio back. Production was fully in on the joke and all that, and then kept it going for ages to the point where Colin got really awkward and didn't know what to do anymore.
Oh man, it I don't know if production thought it was going to be good, but it just came across, even for me on the show, I'm like, this is a bit weird, like it's a bit cringe.
You know what I
know,
did love though?
yeah.
Like the Olivia thing
Mm.
is like at the time I was like, okay, but it was so perfect to have that at the start of the episode, knowing what happened at the end of the episode, that it
I
was the
think it
perfect
shows.
bookend. Like that's editing, you know what I mean? It's good storytelling.
I think again, it's not a good look for Olivia. It's not a
No,
good look for
not
Olivia
at
at
all.
all. Like she's coming across as this really villainous player, similar to Jay in a sense in this, because to me, she comes across as the pick me girl. Like, I need to be popular at all times. I need attention. I will go where the wind blows. And I can't remember who said it, even towards the end. And I think it was Corey. Corey said this in a confessional where he was like, if Olivia can turn against her ride or die, her best friend, there's no chance in any future season I trust Olivia. Because if
Yeah,
she can turn that quickly on someone she's that close with, what will she do to me in the game? So I feel like Olivia's kind of screwed herself for future seasons based on how this episode has played out. Like, it's not looking good for her. And we'll talk a little bit about it later on, but I want to
yeah.
bring up the Berna Emmanuel conversation as well. What did you think of Berna and Emmanuel's conversation? Not to get too personal, but for me, I've got a great relationship with my mom as well. Like, my mom, like, I phone her once a week. Maybe if or on the weekends I can't give her a call, then maybe once every 2 weeks I'll give her a call. She's in South Africa. Obviously, I'm in Australia, so we don't get to see each other all the time. But I had a great mom growing up as well. I couldn't imagine Berna's sort of upbringing not having that closeness with her mom, but I
Hmm.
feel like it explains a lot of why Berna is who she is. Well, she's always so defensive. She always becomes confrontational when there is no need to be confrontational. She even had this confrontational scene with Kylan in the beginning, where Kylan's
Yeah,
like,
that was
just
great.
lower your voice. And she's like, I won't do it. Or like, he's like, don't come at me. And she's like, what are you going to do? Like, she's provoking him the whole time. And Kylan's
Yeah,
in a lose-lose situation as a guy. He can't react to that. Immediately he'd be the bad guy, even though she's the one instigating. But I feel like it
yeah.
gives us an understanding of her personality this scene.
It doesn't matter though, right? Like,
No.
okay, we can understand why you're an asshole, but you're still an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it doesn't
You
excuse it.
gotta work
Yeah.
on it.
I do like that Kylan sort of said, look, everyone gives her a pass for being completely rude, and I'm sick of it. So that's why he called her out on that and said, everyone knows you're rude. No one sort of says it. What I didn't like about the Emmanuel Berner thing was that we keep getting Emmanuel's mum. Like, he's even getting more calls. I feel like it's like Corey doing it
Oh,
for
he's
his
like an
daughter. Like,
LET.
yeah,
He's an
like
LET.
man, like, why are we hearing so much about his mum in that story? And
Well,
it's literally the
Nelly
only
as
thing
well.
we get about him.
Yeah, well, they don't have Nelly this season, so someone else have to give us that storyline, because Nelly was the one in the previous season that always did it for his mom. He was a trouble kid, but his mom was close to him. I used to think for ages Nelly T was going to win the show because of the fact that they had the mom
The
confessionals
mum
the whole
thing.
time. Yeah,
I'm
so
genuinely worried about that now with Emmanuel because he has nothing. They can't give him a storyline, right? He's not contributing anything. Now that
no,
Horacio,
he's
Kylan,
wallpaper.
yeah, he's wallpaper. And now that Horacio and Kylan are gone, they're like, we have to give him something. Let's keep doing the mum thing. Let's pump the mum thing. Like, I'm worried that they're trying to give some sort of edit to a winner that's
Yeah.
nothing.
So that's interesting because the way
Who's
you
left
took it.
now?
No, that's true. And while Marissa's there, she took out Kylan
I mean,
and
she's got
Horacio.
a huge edit,
She
but
could win.
can she win the final?
Yes.
If it's
Based
like
on
this,
what
I
we
guess,
saw.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
if it's like
based on what
that,
we
for
saw,
sure. Yeah, you're
100%.
right.
How can
Actually,
you
I mean, let's all hope. Let's from your
this is
lips to God's ears, Chris.
listen. This is what I always say. Like when we did the draft, one thing that sticks out in my mind is how early she was picked in the draft. I didn't see it. I was like, Nerys was one of those people coming into the season. I was like, she was fine. I didn't watch her previous shows, so I didn't have that following of who she was. And I wasn't impressed enough with Ride or Dice to feel like she's going to be this big character or challenge threat coming into the season. She's completely won me over. I mean,
See,
Horacio was undefeated. Kylan beat the most champions in the house.
yeah,
Horacio consistently came second in the dailies, so close to winning, even in this daily, second again. He's a clear bona fide competitor. So for her to take those two out and we're just dismissing her like Emmanuel's going to walk to the
that's
final and
true.
win this season is so
That's true.
disrespectful, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's so disrespectful to say that
I
with
take it.
Nerys
That's
just having the
100%.
performance that she's had. I get where you're coming from, but we can't say that she doesn't have a shot.
She was an absolute beast. Like she was great.
Yeah,
I
give her
My
flowers.
thing with Nerys, I knew she was going to be big this season, and I was picking her early as well, but not necessarily based on physical attributes. I know
Yeah,
I saw her in Ride or Dies and was like, she's got attitude, she's got spunk, she looks the way she looks. They're gonna really try to get something out of this girl. And then when she had the reunion and the way she interacted with Raven, I go, she's TV, like she's great. She's gonna be good on this show. But I did not necessarily predict her physical capabilities, which is showing like she's up there. I loved it. Like she was
you know what I
really
like
good.
more than anything about Nerys? And like, listen, it's funny to see the hypocrisy. It's funny to see the fakeness of a lot of people on the show. Like, I kind of get entertained by that, but it's also refreshing to have someone that is so real. She's just real. She's like, this
Mm,
is who I am. These are my people. This is who I rock with. I don't give a crap. Like, she has, in some ways, tanked her game this season for Horacio and Kylan by not going with that power alliance of Jay, Michelle, and the rest of the house. But she's like, I don't care. These are my people. And I really, really respect that. Even with Olivia, the fact that she gave Olivia rope and was like, you know what, I rocked with her coming into the house. She was my girl. I can't, because of something external being told to me, change that. So I will still stay with her for now. She
yeah.
hasn't done anything to prove that she's against me. But then to have that moment where Olivia turns against her and she actually tells her, like, I mean, this was a Nerys heavy episode, so many different
Yeah.
ways. And I mean, like I said, just absolute superstar. If she can have another showing like this, and if she can win this season, if she wins this season, I think there's a case to be made that she would be one of the best champions we've had in a very, very long time. But regardless, the star has been born. Like she has to come back in future seasons.
Yeah, I think they've got the potential there for like if Battle for a New Champion was supposed to be about the next generation, and we've heard them banging on about it to almost ad nauseum, where a lot of the OG fans are like, ah, but like I think if they can get 3, 4, 5 people that can have another few seasons and be that the show can be built around, like I think they've done it with some of these people. Like that was the purpose of this season, to
Yep.
have a chance for newbies to find their footing, and not be in the shadow of some really, really heavy superstars and veterans that always dominate a season. Give them a chance to shine, and look what we uncover. Right, Nerys is an absolute superstar.
Yeah, let's read a couple of comments that came in since we've been ranting about Nerys and how good she is. U2 Bearcat says Michelle did a perfect Berna and Spy's lies when she cried to Nani about being her best friend. Know where she got it. So basically saying that Michelle is a bit of a hypocrite here for not understanding why Berna is so emotional, because Berna feels like Michelle is her bestie. Michelle doesn't necessarily want to talk strategy with her. If you think about the party scene, she gets really annoyed by Jay in that party scene for trying to put her on the spot in front of Berna. But Michelle's one, and listen, I get what you're saying, but Michelle is another character that went through, and this is why I said you can't write the kind of scripts that we saw this episode. She was like, I feel for Michelle, man. Like Michelle's kind of like, there's been times where I've been annoyed with Michelle, but Michelle kind of calling Jay out on his BS a
Yeah,
few times have made me like Michelle more and more, because she's not just a sheep that's following him. Like she's won a show, he hasn't yet for clear reason. And he's putting even in this episode again, I just got the weirdest vibes from Jabe when he talks to Michelle as well. Like it's very like social manipulation, that abusive boyfriend type of relationship. Like I just didn't like how he was trying
Everything
to
is because of
corner her.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of me. You put me at risk. I could have gone in against CT, and I would like never have done that to you. And it's like, it was very
Exactly.
strange. I don't like that interaction. And just because Michelle wants to save Nerys and Olivia, who she's close friends with.
Yeah, and and the fact that he said that he wanted to pick Emmanuel over her, and she's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, that was wild.
Like,
was wild.
Imagine how different the chain would have eventuated if he picks Emmanuel picks Berna picks Colleen. Like, where does Michelle end up in the pecking order? And she's going from
very last.
Yeah, like close, right? She's dropping dangerously to that drop off.
Corey would have saved her.
Corey would have saved her for sure, but like it's not a comfortable place to be in when you don't have to. And then like we're hearing she's hearing him entertain. Like I don't think he was genuine. Do you think he was genuinely entertaining Berna's idea, or was he just like, she's talking to me, I can't say get lost, like because she's.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking.
And then Michelle's comes. He's like, "Thank God, Michelle. What do you think? Like, someone distract me. Someone else is here to take the heat off this awkward conversation with Berna."
Yeah, it was weird.
And then Michelle's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, Willie says Berna was making a fool out of herself fighting with Kylan, and he was smiling during the fight. And that's always Kylan's MO. He's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, I'm not getting physical, and especially with a woman. Like, I don't know, Berna's weird. Like I said, definitely gives us an understanding of why she is who she is. But for me to have respect for Berna and that story is she needs to go back and watch this season and how she's interacting and understand that she can't always have a victim's attitude. She is really that girl that keeps making trouble. People aren't just like, if everybody keeps telling you you're confrontational and you're making a big deal out of nothing, there's probably some truth in it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody can't be wrong at the same time.
Was she like this on last season? Because I liked Berna.
She was, because if you remember, she was partnered. She was partnered with CT. She was partnered with CT, and CT couldn't wait to get rid of her. When he played with her, because she wasn't in Ride or Die. She was in Spies, Lies, and Allies, right? That was the season.
Right.
Yeah, and she was with CT early in the season, and CT was like, she's tanking my game. She's talking too much. She's like, CT just couldn't wait, and we couldn't understand what was going on because they didn't show her fully, I feel like, in the early days, but CT kept talking about the fact that she's going to tank his game. So I think she's always been like this. Deke says, I always like learning about cast backgrounds, but I feel like this conversation said one thing and one thing only. They're both making it to the final. Otherwise, they give them this random screen time. Possible? U2 Bearcat says, love that Kylan calls out people. Totally agree. Jorge says, Olivia chose the wrong possible option possible. If she had chosen Nerys, even after making that promise to Michelle and Jay, it would have been a huge iconic political moment. It would have been a huge moment regardless. Like, Olivia would have probably solidified her callback next season. She probably would have solidified, because we know that TJ loves both Horacio and Kylan as well. They're now saved. The big characters stay in the game. The house continues to be divided. The drama it would have caused. Like, Olivia is so petrified. She made a move out of being scared at that moment. And she's like, oh, no, I can't be. And she's probably going to be like gone next in any case. And Nerys is not coming back into that house to be besties with Olivia. She's coming for blood. Like, I could tell you now, she wants revenge. She wants to take the people out that put her in that situation.
I'm not as down on the move as the majority. I do think it was a poor move because it could have been better, but I can see why she did it, and I can see the positives and the benefits of doing it as well. Right? I just think she could have done it. Like you said, she would have guaranteed a spot. It would have been iconic political moment. Like Jorge says, it would absolutely have lived on as a massive moment to do that.
But what's her reputation now? Can I just jump in here and say,
Snake,
what is Olivia's reputation now in the challenge if she does come back? Like, who's going to want to work with her? Like, who's going to trust Olivia to have their back?
That's not too bad either. Like, she can now get a guaranteed callback as a villain, as a snake, as this
to go home
tension
in the
with
first
Nerys.
first four eliminations?
Potentially, yeah, potentially. Unfortunately, but I mean, that is going to be one of the consequences. She's now solidified a callback, but for the wrong reasons, and it could have been for a better reason. That's why I'm saying I don't like it, because I feel like she's wasted the opportunity. But I do think that in and of
A
itself,
fall from grace.
it's a
Like you talk
huge fall
about
from
Jay,
grace.
you talk about Jay being a fall from grace. Like Olivia was the fans' darling. She was the fans' favorite after last season, and that has not gone well in her second season out.
Yeah,
It's been a rough ride for her. Let's look at.
I think the worst move
Yep.
would have been to do nothing. Like, the fact that she even tried to get, like, she realized she's at the bottom four with them. She made it very clear with her tears how invested and how in she is now with Horacio. They're all looking at her going, she's gone. There's no way she's working with us, right? So she's fourth, right? If Nerys is third at the bottom behind Horacio and Kyle, and then Olivia's fourth, she's right at the bottom. By doing what she did, she got picked third behind Michelle. She's jumped Colleen. She's
we
jumped
can't.
Berna. She's jumped all that. You know
But
what I mean?
again,
Like,
you're giving credit to Olivia when all the credit here should go to Michelle. Like Michelle's the one who convinced her to make the move. Michelle's the one who said,
sure,
"Hey, this
but
is
I'm
how I
saying
save
as
you."
far as
Yeah,
why you make that choice goes, like she
fair enough.
did, like she it wasn't like a horrible strategic decision, is what I'm saying. I get why she
Not
did
for
it,
this
but she
season.
could have
Not for
done
this season.
for this season, yeah. But she could have done better. Like, and like I said, if she didn't do that and they don't win a daily like this by next episode, she could have picked Nerys. Nerys could have said, and they would have been amazing. Whoa, blah blah blah, and it would have been for one episode. Next episode, if they don't win again, she's gone. Right?
Yeah, well, I don't like the move. And again, I hear what you're saying. But the challenge is a unique reality TV show. It's not like the other shows where you play it once, you don't come back for another 10 years. You've got to think, and it's one of the things that frustrates us sometimes about the challenge is that people play for future seasons more than what they play for the actual season. So for a TV moment, this was great. Like, this was great that it played out the way that it did. For a long-term challenge move, I think this was horrible for her. She doesn't have that many people that will ride for her. Maybe Michelle will still ride for her in the future. Jay will still ride for her in the future. Some of the people in that alliance.
Yeah? Maybe she's paying
made
off
a
from
choice.
there. And right now, there was 8 versus 3. Like, she's picked the majority, right? And who's
we
to
know
say
production,
that majority wouldn't be going forward?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say production's not the smartest when it comes to picking the right people to come back. So they'll probably pick a lot of these people that are not as liked by the fans to come back because they don't like production doesn't really care about the ratings as much. It seems like, I mean, if they cared about the ratings, they'd pick the people that the fans love, but fuck that's too difficult. It's like half of the cast trying to do math. It's very difficult for production to actually figure that out. But, so maybe she did make the right choice because she's aligning herself with more of the dislikable people instead of the likable people from this season. And most of the dislikable people will probably come back compared to the likable people, if that makes sense. So, in a very roundabout way, she's probably.
Yeah, she's looking at going, look at Nerys. Nerys is the golden girl. She's clearly going to look. She's with the handsomest man
clearly not coming
ever.
back. Fans love her. She's clearly not getting the call back. They'll definitely bring Jay back
as the
because he's
villain.
being an asshole.
Well, she can go. I'm going to come back as the villain. I'll be the anti-Nerys.
Olivia doesn't have the smarts for that.
She
doesn't. Olivia did not look at it at that. Let's be honest. She did not go down to that level thinking about this. Okay, I want to read a couple more comments. Here, Jay is saying, and we would all be seeing her differently than how she is now.
Yeah.
Emmanuel blames all the girls for forcing themselves on him on his Twitter. I just can't help it. I just breathe. I just walk around in the house and the girls throw themselves at me.
I have the same problem in life, and I know his difficulty.
The struggles. YouTube Bearcat saying, didn't think much of Nerys at the beginning. Now Team Nerys. Totally agree. Aya says, Horacio was distracted by love. That is why he lost. I think he went all out. He just couldn't do that origami puzzle. That was the thing that threw him out.
Did you see? Did you notice the trick? It was the neck.
Yeah,
the neck.
I noticed it.
It's not a square. Yeah. It looks like a square, but Nerys saw it's 2 triangles put together.
Yeah, it was the difference.
Yeah, that was the difference. Just that.
Well, he says Nerys can win the final. She is good at puzzles and she is good at endurance. She proven last season and this season that she is final material. I've been loving Nerys since her rookie season. Yeah, 100% Team Nerys. More Team Nerys here. Nerys kept up with Nelly. She can win a final. Michelle has grown. Got to respect that 100%. I enjoy Michelle. I think Michelle has
I do
been
too.
she's going to come back for future seasons. She's just too good in the confessionals. She's that player that's good. I don't know if she'll ever win. I don't know, but she's definitely going to be a mainstay, I would say, on the challenge moving forward.
I do like this, Michelle. I didn't like the Laurel pandering, scared thing.
She's
Like,
got to get rid of that victim.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a
Yeah,
victim.
yeah.
Like, don't do that stuff.
Seeing her
Own
stand up for
the queen
herself
that
is
you are.
kind of badass.
100%. This is the Michelle
Yeah.
that people love from Survivor that we're seeing come out now. Kiwi saying, absolutely agree on Jay. He is out of his mind. Totally agree, Kiwi. Willie says, to me, sometimes with Michelle, I tend to be upset of her because of the moves she's making. Other times, I like her because she is entertaining and she goes, it stands up for herself. And that, again, that is what we like about her in Survivor. She stands up for herself. She's got a bit of a backbone. She definitely always tries to ride the middle as much as she can, even in Survivor. I think it's harder to do in the challenge. You have to choose a side. But this season, she has got a side, which means that she's having to. We're going to see. She's going to live and die by the different decisions that she's made, because I don't think Nurys is looking at Michelle in the same way after this vote, right? At Olivia and Michelle, I think she like Nurys coming back into this game now. She's going to be a true rogue. She's just going to play for herself to get as
Well,
deep
she's
as
got
she
no
can.
one, right? She's got
100%.
nothing and no one. Yeah.
Danica says, I don't think Jay gives two Fs about Berna, but she thinks she's so high up on the friends chain. I think Jay would cut her with no regrets. Totally agree. If this was Berna and she was 22, that is one thing, but she's still acting like this at 33. Danica saying, I'm so disappointed in Olivia. Apparently, she asked TJ if she could change her mind, but he said no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
At least there's
TJ
that,
called.
right?
Yeah. I did like TJ calling Michelle out a little bit as well when they were doing the like nominate, and Michelle was like, and he's like, no, it was Jay and Michelle. Like, I can't actually, it was Jay. He called Jay out because Jay was right at the start, and he's like, oh, this is so hard now, and emotional about the friend stuff and stuff. And he's like, Jay, what did you expect in this game?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, this is the game you're playing. So I liked even TJ was getting annoyed with Jay in this specific episode. I don't know if you noticed that.
And pushing them to make a decision. And
Yeah.
when the chain started going wrong, or not wrong, I think it went the way it was supposed to go, really. But Jay was like, tell him to pick Nurys, tell him to save Nurys. And Jay was doing like, oh, now it looks like I was trying to save her. And I think
that whole thing, yeah, that's what he called him
Kylan's
out.
like, where do you think that's gonna go? Like, how did you think it was gonna happen here? Like, they said, of course it was gonna go that way. Like,
yeah, he's like, I can't save everyone. I only start the chain. I can't save everyone. And even him like running around afterwards to go find Nurys to show all the lists of, hey, look at every single one you were saved.
I always had you saved. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, no, dude, you've been working against Nurys and her wants and needs in the game for a very long time in the game. This was not the first time, And
But
I don't get.
He keeps saying in confessionals, she's not working with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you haven't given her a thing like the entire season.
Like everything's got to be his way.
He thinks I'm protecting her. Therefore, I've never said her name. I'm not throwing her in. Therefore, everything else is acceptable.
But she's not an equal partner in the alliance. Like, she doesn't have she the whole time, the only thing she's asked for, Jay has Emmanuel, Michelle has Corey, Olivia, don't know who Olivia has. She's supposed to have Horacio. She just wants Horacio. She's like, you guys have got your number ones you're saving outside of this inner circle.
I can't have anything.
I can't have one guy. I can't have Horacio. Like, I mean, and it's like she said, how did Mariah get above her in the pecking order to be able to keep James safe this whole time? Like, how did that happen? Just because Jay is so fearful of Horacio in a final. That is basically the thing. He just doesn't want to run against him. But in the meantime, his best friend is Emmanuel, who's also super capable of running a final. So I just don't get it. I don't get Jay's gameplay. It's confusing this season.
Yeah, and then when he doesn't get his way, he like cries and tantrums. It's so full on. Like, it's such a big. Maybe some people just, the saying is like, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the Spider-Man thing of with great power comes great responsibility. Like, he's in the driver's seat. He's always played from an underdog position. He's always been, mostly because of his gameplay and social.
That's right. He doesn't know how to be in power.
In bad positions, but it's first time he's in power, and he's like, like What do I do with it? I don't know how to handle this. Like,
Too much power. Diggs is saying, can I see why she was scared and made the move, but flipping on Michelle would have been a challenge history. Totally
yes,
agree. Olivia made the worst move of her challenge career. It will definitely be held against her in future if she returns. I agree. I do think for future games, like I hear what Kuna saying about this game, the problem is the challenge isn't like other reality TV shows. She'll definitely get the call back. I don't know how well she's going to do. YouTube Bearcat says Kiwi Skirt, the original challenge cast were in the early 20s. There were new folks, almost all in the early 30s. Olivia had the opportunity to flip the house, but she messed it up. She could have still had Michelle in her top 5 and still saved her top 4. Willie also says here, Olivia's reputation will now be someone who isn't loyal and snakes their best friends. I think it's not going to look good for her in the future. George A is saying, I think Olivia will get a call back. That montage at the end, building up the rivalry between her and Nerys, was something I've never seen in production do. And I
yeah.
love the soundtrack of that so freaking much because as Nerys is walking back into the house, in the background, you hear the song say, this is how villains are born. And I'm like, they're talking about Nerys. Nerys is coming in to burn the freaking house down. Like she's, in my opinion, Nerys is not a villain. She's an anti-hero moving forward into this game. She's like, if you're a fan of Marvel, she's the Deadpool of the challenge right now. She's the anti-hero coming back. And I bet you she's going to play ball. She's going to be like, Jay, we're all good, all this kind of stuff. But she's going to take some names. The first time she gets an opportunity to take a shot at an Olivia or a Michelle or a Jay, she's doing it. Like, I bet you she's going to go after that power structure. I'd be disappointed if she doesn't.
The walk, especially because it was both of them that she eliminated, it was just like so
Epic.
badass. Yeah, like they made it look so, and they are building a character for sure.
Like, this is when the challenge is at its best, when it does this type of editing, when it has the music on point. Like, you and I have spoken about this before, and I've said to you, this is when I feel like Survivor doesn't even get to this level of like character building and editing anymore. Like, they just have the secret sauce when it comes to it. And it's a shame that it's taken this long into the season for it to get good. And I think for me personally, it once again proves that the original or the main MTV shows, it's too long. They should go to the format that they have for CBS. They should go to the format that they have for World Championship. Make it 12 episodes. Make it about 20 people instead of 30 people. Have it be just better because you almost don't care about the first 10 people going or that first 10 episodes because it's the prelims if you're a sports fan before getting to the playoffs. I want to get to the playoffs a lot quicker. I want to get to where it hurts a lot quicker, where you see this type of storylines a lot quicker. That's just my take on it.
I agree.
Let's see, Dabu, welcome here in the live saying Jordan, Tori, Bananas all like Olivia. She'll be fine. True. If you've got those three on your side, you're in a pretty good space if they're all in season 40. Kiwi says shows in the game. 2 U2 Bearcat, pretty obvious. Now you mention it. Cheers. Kiwi Skirt saying, I don't think they'll still stay enemies, so rivals wouldn't happen.
They don't need to have a rival season. They'll bring him into any theme, hoping that they'll get the fireworks of a rivalry. You don't need to wait for a rivals season specifically, you know?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I don't think like they're still not following each other on socials and stuff. I don't think Nerys is the kind of girl. She doesn't come across as someone that
doesn't seem very forgiving.
I don't think she's going to forgive her quickly. Dolores is saying, I feel like Olivia had a choice and she was scared and found herself making a decision that will end up having dire consequences, in my opinion. Totally agree. I think the only thing that was good about the schoolyard pick was that Jay freaked out about Colleen not picking Nerys. He was so pissed about that. I think Colleen is done now. Who did Colleen pick at the end? That was weird too. Who did Colleen pick at the end?
Corey.
I forgot. Corey, right.
Corey.
Yeah. And Colleen, I mean, really? Again, like, he's just weird. Like, he's been telling her, I don't care about you. And now suddenly she's got to do what he wants her to do. Like, I mean, it's not going to happen.
And Corey was like, but if she picks Nerys, that's me screwed. Like, and Colleen was like, but you wanted me to go in. Like, why am I doing what you want? You wanted me to go in. Like, what are you talking about? It was so weird.
Dub is saying, oh my God, Olivia screwed Horacio. Yeah, welcome to the challenge. This kind of happens on the show. What are so many people outraged over it? Yeah, I don't, like, for me personally, it's a good call. It's a good call. And it's a good game move. Like I said, for TV, brilliant. I mean, it gave us something in this podcast to talk about and be excited about. So from that perspective, awesome. we're basically triggered on her behalf in the future if she was to go back and play with the newer generation. I think it will screw her. But a good point was made by someone in the live who said that she probably has some good friends with Bananas and the Jordans and the Tories of this world who will use her like a pawn again in this next season, and she will probably be okay for a while, but she won't win against them. You
See,
know,
I
like
don't
how do
think
you
this.
set yourself up?
I don't think this comment's about us, Chris. We can say
No,
it
no,
wasn't a
just
good
people in general.
move, but there are people that are legitimately
Oh, they're
out,
going
like they
after her as a
hate
person.
Olivia. Yeah, absolutely. She's a snake.
That's
She's
a
a piece
fair
of
call.
garbage. She's trash. She's blah blah
This is probably
blah.
how she is in real life. You know, she
Yeah,
like
all that stuff.
people
That
can't
and
people
people
can't
are
understand.
legitimately outraged. We can go, that was a bad move. Maybe it's going to have game consequences, strategy, blah blah blah. But people are like, she's a horrible person. I hate her. I
I
hate
don't
her.
get
I hate
that.
her. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, Dabu, that says more about people themselves that have that kind of hate towards a TV character that they don't know in real life. Like to me, that says more about those people that they feel the need to project that hate on someone else that's on TV. Like I've never fully gotten it. Like you can like or dislike someone in the context of the game, but for me, as soon as it's the game's over, like I don't go and follow these people and trash talk them afterwards. Like let them live their lives. Like none of us are perfect. The only difference is most of us don't have cameras following us around 24/7. Otherwise, a lot more of us would be in trouble.
Yeah.
YouTube Bearcat says Horacio has mentioned that he has reached out to Olivia, but is still a fractured relationship. Yeah, I can imagine. And Horacio is a good guy. Like he would try and
Oh
probably.
yeah.
I
You
mean,
can see
he's
that
just
for
a good
sure.
guy. Dolores says Olivia had this deer in headlights look on her face. She knew she was making a bad decision and made it anyway. Hashtag Narice's revenge coming. Let's see. Danica says, I think Narice can make it to the end. It will be down for her. Michelle at TNT Dynamite. Don't know what we said at the time, but thank you, Kiwi Skirt, for hyping us. We love people telling us that we're right. We get it right most of the time, but every now and again we do maybe have a take that everybody won't agree. Oh, it's TNT Dynamite above. I see. Do you think
Chris
if
gets it
Michaela,
right most
Natalie,
of
and
the time.
Anderson?
I don't-
Nah, like I think we take turns. I think we take turns to annoy the live audience. Every now and again, you'll say something that'll annoy them. Every now and again, I'll say something. TNT Dynamite says, "Do you think if Michaela, Natalie, Anderson, and Justine were on the season, the game would be different?" Yeah, yeah, totally. I agree with Kiwi Skirt. It would be different because
I
those are
love those
all
three.
very,
Yeah.
yeah, very strong women. Love Justine. Obviously, she was great on USA One and War of the whatever the
World
World
Championship.
Championship season. Jeez, it's not even that long ago, and I'm already forgetting the name of the season. And Michaela on USA Two was great. Natalie was great. It's just a shame that Natalie probably won't ever come back. Like, I saw what was it, an Instagram live between her and Michelle where she spoke about the requirements for her to come back, and I think it's pretty out there. So I
Oh,
don't think we
okay.
see her again. Yeah.
Right.
Luciana says, in my opinion, Jay is very jealous of Nerys. Jay flips out as an underdog with power.
As understand. Yeah. He doesn't know what to do with it from either position.
TNT Dynamite says, thank you. Unfortunately, Michaela declined 39. Justine was alternate, although she did love Island Games with Johnny M, and Natalie was never called. Well, I think Natalie is like, I don't think she's all that interested in coming back. So she said something about like the prize money needs to be $1 million and there has to be like a guarantee that a female and a guy can win and all this kind of stuff. Like she's got stipulations. She's not just going to be
Right.
stepping back into the show for no reason, which is it's like from a survivor standpoint, she's got a reputation, so you can kind of understand it. But in the challenge, she hasn't really. She looked like she was going to be a demon the first season she played, but she hasn't been able to fulfill that yet. So it's hard to
Yeah.
have that kind of requirements when you're not necessarily in the challenge legend as of yet. You know what I mean? Love the soundtrack. Totally agree with that. Let's see what people are saying here, sort of moving through the comments as well. Danica saying, I'm ready for James Colleen to go. Corey Al can go too. I don't see any of them doing it in the final. Yeah, I mean, that's why they're kind of keeping them around, right? Like, a lot of people are saying Mariah's sort of doing a good job keeping James safe, but I don't think anybody is fearful of James in the final. They saw him gas out in that elimination. They were like, this guy doesn't have the stamina to do a final. So I feel like they're in a good spot with him.
No.
And then Colleen is another person who, like, would you
People
really
aren't
be
worried.
fearful of running against her?
No.
Not
It was
really.
funny with this episode. I haven't paid a lot of attention to the social media side, but I did see something come up in my feed. Nerys took a shot at Mariah, saying that she chose James over her, an actual friend. And
Yeah.
Mariah came back and basically said, look, you are a real, genuine friend, but we weren't then. We got close after filming because of the show. So at the time, we weren't really that close. And yeah, James was, a fling or whatever, but I was close with him. He did everything I wanted the entire season. And the other reason why I was able to do it so successfully and protect him is because no one was scared of him after seeing him in the elimination. They were all happy for him to keep going forward. So
Yeah.
Mariah admitted that in writing, saying, like, the only reason why I could even save him so much was because no one wanted him to go.
Yeah, makes sense. It's the
Yeah.
oldest strategy. Take a layup with you to the final.
Yeah.
Kiwi Skirt, 1000% agree, Chris. It's a game and should be taken that way by people. You saw the future because I still agreed with you too. Yes, true. Asher says, just logged in, still standing, Michelle. Asher, love the fact that you're backing your girl all the way. We spoke about Michelle a little bit earlier in the live, and both Kahuna and I agree with you. I think a lot, like, I've never disliked Michelle, but there's times when she plays the victim role that we don't like it. I think it doesn't come across well. But when she's Queen Michelle from Survivor, when she's standing up to Jay for being a bit of a douche sometimes, and she has that whole mentality of, bro, come on, you think you can just tell me what to do. That's the Michelle we like. And she had a bit of that spice again this episode. So I do like her. I do like the fact that she at least, Michelle got the best of all worlds in some ways. Like, yes, Nerissa still pissed off at her, but she managed to save one of her two close friends here. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's not bad. Jay didn't want to give her even one. But she found a way to at least get one of her close friends saved in the game. So you've got to give her credit for that, because she was moving against the tide of this game, and where it probably was going to go with both Olivia and Nerissa being in danger at the bottom, and she managed to get one saved. So you got to give her credit for that.
Yeah, and she's right. Like, if there's the power struggle between a Jay and a Michelle, and Jay's sort of gaslighting her and throwing out everything's because of me. I'm protecting you the whole time. If it was me, if it was you in trouble, I'd come to your back, blah blah blah, right? But if you look at the relationships in the house, and even the confessional that Michelle said, she's gotten to the point now where she's been so successful, they've run out of people they can waste. Like, it's
Yeah.
now at that position where everybody is connected because they've been so good at it. And when she ran down the list, except for like Emmanuel, right? Now they're all her connections. Jay is lagging, like latched onto her. She's not latched onto Jay. She doesn't need Jay anymore right now. Like,
No.
she is solid in her numbers. Jay is the one who is struggling with Asaf gone, with Ed gone, with he's starting to dwindle a little bit. He needs to play it nicer. And Michelle is in a power position. And I love that about it. Like, she's showing
Yeah.
that she's the one that put herself there, not Jay. She's not just
She's a
going
great
along for
game
the
player.
ride. Yeah.
And we're seeing it. We're seeing it this season. It's been frustrating at times with Jay trying to hijack the direction of the game, but Michelle's doing a decent job. She's hanging in there. Danica's saying Natalie could go on the USA version. She might feel more at home there. Plus, they may pay more. I don't know if the pay is necessarily more for the USA version, but I do know that the viewership numbers are a lot higher on the USA franchise. So I would be shocked if the Challenge USA doesn't get a third season. It would be shocking for me if they don't go down that road. And I can see Natalie making an appearance
I
potentially
think the,
on there.
the pay would be more because one of the things that has been a controversy in the past is that I
Yeah.
know Tori was complaining when they started the new shows is that the CBS people were paid, because the way they pay this cast members is a scale on the number of seasons. The number of seasons you've been there, you get paid more, right? And the CBS people, when they came onto USA and onto the Challenge, were paid for their CBS seasons as well. So the number of seasons they did on Survivor, they were recognized as a veteran of that number of seasons. Whereas all the people that came from Are You the One and other shows, not Real World and the Challenge, weren't given that same recognition. So Tori's like,
Yeah.
I was on 3 seasons of X before coming there, and some of these foreign people coming in are getting extra benefits and pay based on their seasons, but we didn't get the same thing. So I think USA 2, being all of them are from other CBS shows, multiple seasons, would get paid more than, say, a Colleen from
That's
Germany.
a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially for someone like Natalie, who's a a winner of Survivor. I feel like it would give her a bit more to stand, a bit of leg to stand on. George is saying, I wonder how next week will be because now Kahuna and Rassi are left. Who will they put together with Nerys? I think Nerys has got an
Olivia.
opportunity to. I think that Nerys has got an opportunity to somehow get back into the good graces of these people. Like I feel like a lot of them do feel really bad about Nerys being in the position that she was in the game. You could see Jay was in tears, very emotional because him and Nerys were tight prior to this game, and he hasn't been showing her any loyalty. I feel like he's going to try and bring her back in, but I think if Nerys is a good player here, problem is she's just so real. She keeps the animosity that she has for Jay, Michelle, Olivia. She needs to hide that coming back into the game. She needs to find a way to bury it, and then when the opportunity is right, strike and potentially be the downfall of one of them, take one of them out. Danica's saying, so is Mariah not with James anymore? Haven't kept up with him. Like I don't think Mariah and James would. It's a long distance relationship, right? It's the UK and Florida. Like it's how does that even work? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine dating someone in Sydney if I'm in Melbourne. Like I mean, you're talking different countries here.
I think it was done as soon as they got on the plane.
Yeah, and she messed up a good situation. I don't know if it was a good situation, but and I'm not saying Bananas is an angel, but she was kind of in with the challenge crew for that fling for one season. James must have been really good. That's all I'm saying for her to mess that up. YouTube Bearcat Michelle has no meltdowns this season. Dolores says, I've not kept up with the current couple situation. I do think Rassi and Nerys might still be together. They are, as far as I'm aware, they're still together. Dabu, Natalie Anderson, such a missed opportunity. Her and West could have been amazing if they played longer, 100%. What could have been? Yes, totally Michelle's game, not Jay's. Danica says, if Michelle was smart, she'd get Nerys, Olivia to have temporary truce and have those three run it to the end, maybe even bring Berna or Mariah, make it a girls' final. That would be good.
Would be
they
smart.
Need to get rid of some of the guys. 100%. I wanted to bring up, let's talk a little bit about the daily challenge itself. What did you think of it, mate? Like we're 50 minutes and we haven't spoken about the daily challenge itself. Like, how did you feel? Like I've got thoughts, but I'm kind of curious to know what you thought about this daily challenge.
At first, I was like, I saw the mega structure in the ocean, and that's what I love about the challenge.
Yeah.
But then it was just like drop fast and do nothing. Like there wasn't even get flags off the thing while you're going down, or you need to collect X. It's just go as far as you can, as fast as you can. And really, like, if anyone had any sense of logic whatsoever, as soon as James goes in the first round, then anyone after that, you just get off 30 centimeters and stay check. Like, as long as you don't fall, you're safe. Like, it's so rigged that way. Like, if anyone was actually smart, Corey and Ed, don't move and you're safe. Like,
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that as soon as James fell, Ed absolutely just being probably super competitive, maybe had a little bit too much pre-workout prior to going on to the daily challenge, was really amped up on it and tried to win it outright. There was nothing for him. Like, I feel like he was never in danger if he didn't fall into the water. And to lose Ed this way on something that is a bit of a carnival trick, it's not, it's like, what is this? Like, we've got a couple of ropes. They got to stop themselves on this rope. It felt lazy. It felt unimaginative. Like we always give the challenge credit when it comes to some of the innovation that they bring to the daily challenge. This one wasn't this. This one was like, yeah, we just need something over water. Let's put this in the end. I mean, and then seeing James's hand afterwards, like
that's what I was going to say. And harassment, like we talk about them doing the testing on the. They didn't test that the rope burn. What were those gloves for, if not to protect from the rope? Like they got shredded.
They probably gave them like, I don't know what type of gloves they were, but it clearly didn't work. And it was a strange one for me. Like,
also, again, there was a bit of controversy because people swear black and blue, and Nerys has actually said in lives on her social media, Horacio didn't do quicker, but had no rope available in his head. Like he got further on the rope. Jay, when he asked for check, still had some rope, like some slack. Horacio was gone. Like he went right to the tippy top. So there was that.
Wow.
But I mean, if there was that, and people are saying that's the case, to me, I assume that it was like levels, like within tolerance. You got to this far, and you were both within a feet, like 2 feet of the rope, and Jay was faster. Something like that. I don't know.
YouTube Bearcat said it was a really old school challenge. The one, a lot of people asking about the rope or the gloves, how the gloves didn't protect
Yeah.
them. Kiwi's good and Danica, it's a risky move, and she could risk them breaking the trust, but all she has to do is tell them just to watch them and close their eyes. So it must be a conversation up in the top. Someone just play the sensors. Willie says, I wish that Horacio won the daily because that would have changed the game. I agree. I was so ready for Horacio to get power in the game finally.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like some people will say that production rigged it for a Jay, but I don't know. Does production really look at Jay this season and how he's coming across and think, oh, wow, next superstar. This is the guy we got to get behind. I guess Horacio doesn't really, he doesn't bring like the thunder and the confession.
Based on TJ, right? They would have been rigging it for Horacio.
Exactly,
they want
TJ
Horacio.
loves Horacio and Kylan.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like,
it's very strange.
You could, if you squint and are really, really like cynical, you could go, it's pretty coincidental that a challenge perfectly suited to Jay, his strength, was kind of at the most pivotal time of the game as well. Like, you finally got a rock climber that's been working on ropes for 8 years gets a rope challenge right at this point of the game is perfect for him. But obviously, I'm not silly enough to go, oh, they did it specifically, because how much does a thing like that take to plan out? You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I don't think it would have been big. Diggs with the best comment of the day, saying, also a little embarrassing if Under Armour sponsored the challenge and the gloves got absolutely shredded out there. It would have been bad advertisement for them. YouTube Bearcat says the challenges are too big and complex to just move for a particular player. I agree. Danica says, I don't think production rigged it. I think they would have leaned towards Horacio, not Jay. I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they would have leaned as well, because Horacio is kind of the golden child coming up at the moment. Like, you've mentioned it a few times, and I kind of agree with it now, and I don't want to make this a thing, but he could be like the new age. Like, he's not the same player. So I'm not, and I know people hate him when we compare players. He's not exactly like him, but in the sense that he's the golden boy who sort of doesn't get involved with a lot of the messiness. He could be like a Landon of the new era, in that way. Like, I don't think he's as competent a player as Landon was. Like, I just want to make that clear, but I can see him being in that mold, kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe even like a Leroy in some ways as well, because Leroy was always a nice guy.
I'd like to see him add a bit of strategy in social game. Like, he needs to figure out how to maneuver the politics, because he's got everything else.
Nerys could be that for him in the future. If they come back, I reckon she's got the capability to run the strategy social side, with him being the power behind that in future seasons. Dick says Landon has a bit of a temper, though. He pop off sometimes, whereas Horacio is cool. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's probably a little bit more like, it's hard to compare him. Like, I don't know if we've had him.
Horacio's
Tino Landon, hell yeah. Yeah, it's hard to like say completely. What did you think of the elimination? Obviously, big moment. We've got the three of them, Nerys, Horacio, Kylan going down there. Did you give Nerys any shot at winning that, or did you think it's tickets for her going into this thing? Because to me personally, I thought Horacio was going to come out victorious. We've never seen him lose. He looked really good until he got that origami puzzle. They had the cylinders they had to put together. Overall, do you feel like this sort of secret conquest elimination is it's paying dividends? Do you like it? And what did you think of this, I guess as a whole?
I mean, I think it serves a couple of things. I still don't necessarily like men versus women, equal footing in everything, because even at the start of this thing, right? Like, you see Horacio, well, the big boxes that they had to jump over. And like, I thought it was funny. It looked good in the edit. Like, you see Horacio just parkour, just leaping over, and Nerys comes and goes, "Oh, serious?" Like, because it's so big for her, she has to jump. Like, it's not fair. But then production turn around and go, "See, Nerys won. Like, we got it right. It's perfect. It's equal. Women can do anything." Like, and I think the fact
women are smarter than men. See,
like. I think the fact that she did, it's not to take away from Nerys at all, but like, it's not the exception that proves the rule. You know what I mean? Just because it happened once doesn't mean that this is the perfect setup for a finals kind of thing like this. Like I said, if these women were smart, they should go down that chain and just pick all women the whole way through and just leave men at the bottom. There's so many ways to game it. Now that Nerys is coming back and knows what's there as well, she should be saying to these women, send all the men in. Like, just send all the men in every week. That's what we need to do. Like,
yeah. Then I guess saying that's like Zara last week with the ropes over the wall. Zara and Nerys are beasts. So Zara just getting sort of stuck trying to get over that wall. Deek saying, do we think that Horacio kind of threw it once he saw Nerys was on his shit and doing really well? And then Danica saying, I thought Nerys was a goner until the puzzles, then I knew she was going to nail it. Elise saying Horacio definitely wasn't giving 100% and Nerys killed it. I don't think he threw it. I'll come out and say it. I think that
hard for me,
yeah, like I think that he was definitely conflicted and very proud of her when she won. But I think that Horacio is also a super competitive person. Like, I mean, if you look at last season, the whole season, he wants to win. Like he even said in this episode, I want to win the title more than the money. Like he's just competitive. He's an athlete. I don't see him throwing it, even for Nerys. I think she outright won. And he just got stuck on that origami puzzle. That was the thing that threw him off, and he couldn't get it in time. But it was really cool to see how happy they were for her when she won. Similar to how last week they didn't celebrate when Zara lost. They immediately went to her to make sure she's okay. Like, just like you said, new legends, new favorites, new veterans are born in the season. And normally, if you think about it, even when CT came on talking about he never got the shot that, you know, he's giving Horacio, and he was constantly someone they didn't want to see in a final, similar to how Cara Maria was constantly thrown in there. The people that we love, the people that become great at the show long term, are the people who have got this journey of perseverance and fighting their way to the top, where you feel like you're a part of that journey as they become legends in the game. We've spoken about that, where we feel like, I know you're a big fan of Tori, but Tori feels like she's been pushed on us. People like Jay feel like they've been pushed on us. I feel like a lot of these new legends that they're trying to create, that they don't, it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like they've had this journey of struggle to get there. You know what I mean? Feels like obstacles have been removed for them to be elevated. That's not the case with an Horacio or with a Kylan or with a Nerys or with a Zara in the game right now. Like, these people are going through this. We're seeing them go through the trenches and not having an easy road to the top. So I feel like a lot of people will be invested in their journey in future seasons if they do come back.
So let me throw a scenario out to you. If next season, season 40, is not what I said of all champion season, and they want to be able to take advantage of some of the momentum built off of this season with some of these great characters, what is the thing here? Like, I started thinking last night, I was like, maybe you do the hero's journey is huge with this current season. Like, they're getting hero's journey edit. Like, even though they've already had the hero's journey edit. I was thinking maybe generations, like you have 40 seasons, it's 10, the first 10 seasons, second 10, like, you know what I mean? Like a decade of who would represent this season or the current generation from 30 to 40. Is anyone out of this making, like, obviously Horacio, Kylan, Nerys automatically get in, but if it's 40 people, 4 generations, maybe 10 cast members from 5 women, 5 men, do you think that?
I don't think they will do. I don't think they'll go 40 seasons with the 4 generations. I just don't see it happening, because a lot of people who played in the early seasons probably
are like 50, 40.
Yeah, they're too old. They couldn't come back and compete against the kids of today. Like, I mean,
well, the first generation counts CT. Like, CT debuted in season 9 or something. You know what I mean? So there's still people.
Maybe. But it'd be tough to make up a full. It'd be tough to make up a full team. I feel like
it would. But what about the current? Like, so
I would go new generation versus old generation, and just have it like the old school legends versus the new school. Yeah, it's like I said, it's champions versus contenders, or veterans versus contenders, legends versus contenders.
So how many people from this season make it into that group over the last 10 seasons of new
from this season?
6 seasons of new school. Yeah,
quite a lot,
right? They've made an impact. When you look at the seasons where we've
even if you don't like Jay, you don't like Michelle, some people don't. Jane Michelle's in there. Nerys is in there. Kylan, Horacio's in there. Zara's got a potential case to be in there.
Olivia,
Mariah,
based on the
dislike or like
controversy.
her, she's got a. There's a lot of people I feel like
Yeah.
from the season that could
So
get Ed
from the
maybe.
start
I
of
don't
the
know.
season,
Yeah.
to now, the people complaining about this cast, this is the worst cast ever. It's a battle for a budget champion.
Format.
Like they're doing good. Yeah.
No, but again, format.
Oh,
like
at the start of the season.
Yeah,
the
it's too long.
Thing.
The season's too long. The first
now
10
we get the
eliminations
cream.
Now the cream gets to the top. Like it's why I said you need shorter seasons, smaller cast, 20 people or so, 12 episodes. Make quality over quantity. I feel like that's what I would sort of push for. But yeah, I'm thinking next season probably is going to be like it'll be like some sort of a legends versus contenders or veterans versus contenders, whatever you want to call it, type of season.
Yep.
My personal preference is champs versus contenders. Like so people like a team of people who have won versus a team of people who have never won. That would be what I would like to see personally.
Wouldn't be completely one-sided dominant.
Would Emily come back though, Elise? Like I feel like she's been out of it for so long. Like I don't know if she's one of those people that
maybe an All-Stars. Like she did the Champs versus Stars because that was 2 weeks or something. I think she could do an All-Stars, but maybe not a flagship.
I would love to see her come back. Like I think she'd be
me
great
too.
against the newies. She'd do well. Is there anything else that we feel like we haven't spoken about that you want to bring up, Kahuna?
No, like I said, I think this was a phenomenal episode with a sad outcome. Like we're sad to see who went home, but it's really showing how good the quality is of that episode. And like I said, I'm surprised that I've come around to actually, if not liking, at least respecting the character of so many of these people on the show, like bad or good. I think they're building something, and I'm high on the season. I'm high on these people when in previous season people. Oh, not in previous season. In the start of the season, people have just been shitting on this cast for so long, and I'm glad that we're finally going to be able to get a few really good people out of this to continue the show on.
So as you said, Willie brings up there are some people in this cast that shouldn't be in.
Yeah, sure.
But again, it's some of the earlier people. I do think most of the people that are in the game right now. Well, I guess even if you look at, let's entertain that for a second. Like if we look at who's in the cast right now, who do we as fans not necessarily care too much about? Like who's in there? For me, Colleen hasn't done much for me. She's pretty face, like pretty girl, got a lot going for her outside of the game. She's, in my opinion, not made for TV. She's not made for the challenge. I don't find her entertaining. Colleen, to me, couldn't care less. Berna couldn't care less. Emmanuel couldn't care less personally. Nope. I just don't think he's got that pizzazz about him that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what Emmanuel's going to do next. Who else is there? I'm missing Mariah. I'm like 50-50. She's like, whatever. James.
I mean, I care a lot, but it's not necessarily because of her game playing character.
You care about Mariah like how I care about Colleen, but not necessarily for the gameplay. So it's like 5 people immediately that we could just name them. And I'm like, do we care? Not really. Some of the other people.
The thing is, though, what I'm trying to stress is that I think
feel like
this season was.
Corey has done some stuff. Like Corey is like up and down for me as well. Like, but I can see why a lot of people feel that way. I can definitely see it.
Yeah, I mean, every season where there's new people, we're always going to get the fodder at the start, right? There's people that have to be early boots because they're not that great of characters, and sometimes they get through and end up being there for the long term, despite not being great characters. But the fodder is part of every season. There's always like, I don't know if you remember, like the one that sticks out in my head. If you go, oh, name a random challenger, in my head I always go Gabbo. That dude, like. I'm like, how did a guy like that end up being cast, right? But they have to be part of a show because you need people to go out. I just think that this season, people were expecting that we weren't going to get the same number of high quality people that can come back, right? I thought everyone thought that this whole season, everyone, maybe with the exception of Michelle and Jay and the Big T, were pretty much one and doneers. But I think we've now unearthed a couple of mainstay people that will be able to be used going forward.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Listen, that is it here for this week. We've had a great live audience here today with us, again, taking part in the conversation as well. So thank you so much for everybody in the live for jumping on. I know this was at a different time from when we normally do it. We should be back on the normal time next week. There'll be no traveling from me. I should be back at home. But for anybody that is new to the channel, that have never sort of seen us before, consider subscribing, hitting a like, putting the notification bell on. We do all competitive reality TV here on the channel, or as much as we can cover with having full-time jobs being one of the other things that keep us busy. So currently we're talking about the Traders US, we're doing Australian Survivor, and we're doing the challenge. So make sure to subscribe and follow us for any of the coverage across all of those shows. But for now, that is it. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.